Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Out Today and What I Missed, this time for February 20th, 2025. This week we have 14 new albums to talk about, 9 that are out today, 5 that I missed along the way. If the reviews are a little shorter this week, I apologize. I'm dealing with a broken tooth, and hopefully by the time that you actually hear this, it will be extracted and I'll be back to my normal self. So that said, let's get into it. First up, we have Abstracted with Hiraeth. The sophomore album from this Brazilian band is quite the progressive experience. While you can hear so much from bands like Meshuggah and Textures, you can also hear bands like Between the Buried and Me, Opeth, and Scar Symmetry. The band has leveled up on this release and only getting stronger and showcasing the best songwriting and musicianship to date that they have done. The production is a bit on the raw side for today's age, but it also makes it feel more human at the same time. For anyone who wants that mid-2000s progressive death metal sound, Abstracted is bringing that with a 2026 flair, and it truly shines. Next up, we have Aeon Gods with Reborn to Light. The sophomore album from this German band brings back the greatness that is symphonic power metal. Depending on who you ask, everyone has their different kind of symphonic power metal that they love. From the all guns blazing speed, to the crushing riffs, to the crowd chanting choruses, to the theatrical symphonics that takes the emphasis. Aeon Gods ask, why not do all of that and more? This is the perfect crash course of the genre while still putting their own signature onto the sound. Add a crystal clear production to the mix, and you have one of the best symphonic power metal albums of the year. It will take so much to try and top this one. If you want your kick of Powerwolf, Hammer King, and Battleborn, check out Aeon Gods in all their glory. Now we have AmongRuins with Advent of Chaos, and make sure to check out my written review with AmongRuins up on heavydebriefings.weebly.com. I discovered this band with their previous album Land of the Black Sun back in 2023, and in such a short time the band has found a way to improve even stronger and has recorded what might be one of the best Melodeath albums of 2026. The music is equal parts heavy and melodic, knowing when to switch things up without going too far into either direction, mixing with a production style that simply fits the music and the lyrical sense that feels so appropriate for 2026, and you have one killer release. If you enjoy the likes of Night Rage, Primal Frost, Wolfheart, and Go Dark, you need AmongRuins in your life. Next up is Bizarrekult with an album title that I hope I get right, Ult Som Finis. This is the post-black album that I've been waiting for this year. It hits everything that I love about the genre on the darkest ends, and it does not let up for 8 tracks and almost 43 minutes. The production on this one is stellar for the genre, and the songwriting hits everything from depressing to tear-jerking in the best of ways. The Siberian-turned-Norwegian band's third album is an absolute triumph of how the post-black genre works. For anyone who enjoys latter-day Enslaved, Do Heimsgard, and Durchweg einer Freiheit, check out Bizarrekult immediately. You do not want to miss this one. Next up is Daidalos with Dante. The sophomore album from this German one-man band is one of the most punishing symphonic black metal albums I've ever heard. It simply hits all the right elements that makes everything work, from the sinister overtones, to the symphonics, to the aggression of the black metal side, to sharing nods to bands like Dimmu Borgir, Flesh God Apocalypse, Karak Engren, and Septic Flesh, but having their own sound in the process. The production is brilliant and lets you feel every single note to its full capacity, and the songwriting is the kind that is inspired and doesn't leave an ounce of redundancy. The lyrical concept of the album is a reinterpretation of the Divine Comedy by Dante, but it's through Dante's eyes, and the power of the themes more than matches up the music and vice versa. Simply put, this is the symphonic black metal album that we needed in 2026, and the genre is back with a full bang. I can't sing the praises of this one enough. Go check this one out. Now we have Sylosis with The New Flesh. Sylosis is an ever-evolving band, and with their 7th album in 18 years, the band captures the best of their technical ability, matched with making riffs that are so catchy and memorable. It's a fine line between trying to capture both sides without it sounding like a hodgepodge of sound, but the band balances everything out, knowing when to be more mainstream and when to be more brutal. This is much more than clean vocals on this one, but I don't find that that's a bad thing. It works for the music, and it makes everything catchier than ever before. The production is crystal clear and lets everybody shine, hitting moments that'll remind you of bands like Orbit Culture, Darkest Hour, The Haunted, and a simpler, more refined Ex Mortis. Sylosis is a band that feels like it can be for everyone if you give them a proper spin. Now we have Transatlantic Radio with Midnight Transmission. It's really hard for me to find an AOR album of the modern day that I don't like, because every band that does it now is only doing it for the pure love of the music. This brand new supergroup is no exception. It hits everything that you love about the genre, from its cheesiest moments to the flying solos to the pure 80s aesthetic. But again, it's done with a pure love of the genre that is undeniable and feels truly authentic. If you're looking for everything from Y&T, Danger Danger, Giant, or even Foreigner, you will find it here and more with Transatlantic Radio. Just put it on and smile. We need that more than ever before. Now we have Wreck-Defy with Dissecting the Leech. 6 albums in this Canadian thrash band's career, and it feels more important than ever to have them around. Just from the lyrical content alone, the band is showing the atrocities that happen in life, and we really need a light shown on that right now. Match that up with thrash metal that feels equal parts Creator, Nevermore, Strappy Young Lad, and Annihilator, and you have an album that is satisfying to the ears to listen to time and time again. I will say that I know the production will not be for everyone, but if you hit the particular niche that this band hits, you will understand it and you will love it. It also helps that the likes of Steve Smith, Chris Poland, Stu Block, and more add their touches to the music and make it even better. 10 songs, almost 50 minutes of devastating thrash. And finally, for brand new albums out today, we have Zepter with their self-titled debut. Equal parts Thin Lizzy, Angel Witch, and Night Demon comes a debut album from Austria's Zepter. It somehow captures the mid-70s sound, the new wave of British heavy metal sound, and the current revival metal sound all rolled into one. While not coming close to reinventing the wheel, that's nowhere near the intent here. This is beyond solid, and it takes that classic hard rock, classic metal, and speed metal sounds, and creates a fusion that makes you remember why this sound is still prevalent to this day. The production feels like 1982 done in 2026, and the musicianship is tighter than ever before to make it sound as accurate as it needs to be. This is the revival sound that we need in 2026. And now for everything that I missed, starting with Beheading Samsara with Black Cloud Masses. Sometimes a band will put out a 6-track album that's barely a half hour long, has an In Flames cover at the end, but those first 5 tracks are so ridiculously hard and they leave you stunned every time you listen to it. That's what happened to me when I put on the sophomore album from the Spanish band that has clearly put their thoughts, hearts, and souls into the music they're creating, and it worked triumphantly. I should note that every original song on here from the band is from their very first demo back in 2018, but the songs have been reworked and recorded to work as a full album, and at least according to Metalum, that is the case, so that's why I'm counting it here. This is spectacular work that truly hits that 2026 definition of progressive Melodeath. If you want a mix of bands like Persephone, Early Day In Flames, Opeth, and Rivers of Nile, do yourself a favor and check out Beheading Samsara. I can't wait to see what they do next. Next up is Converge with Love Is Not Enough. I'll keep this one short and sweet, just like the album. 10 tracks, barely 31 minutes long. It is pure Converge through and through. The first half of the album focuses on the more intense elements of the band, and the second half sees the band exploring more of their sound, yet somehow the entire album is consistent and it's done before you realize it. In fact, this is the shortest album the band has ever made. It's a crash course of the band from their earliest sounds to their most left of center moments and everything in between. If you ever wondered how first wave metalcore, mathcore, hardcore punk, and experimental sounds mix together, and you've never heard Converge, let this be your first taste. Next up, we have Nulling Roots with Fourth Dimensional Dreamscape. At long last, after 6 years, comes the 6th album from this Arizona post-black band that has put out some of the best material in the genre. It has been a long and rough time without new music from the band, but was it worth the wait? Absolutely. This is easily some of the band's best work from beginning to end, hitting some of the most optimistic highs and pessimistic lows the band has ever recorded. The music is filled with wonder, hitting so many different emotions and styles all under the gaze of post-black. The production will not be for everyone, as it is quite raw, but I dare say that the musicality on this one is such a high that after a while you won't even notice how raw the music and production is, and it will just fill everything with the right kind of atmosphere. This is also on track of an album, as it's 6 songs in 53 minutes, so if you don't like long songs, this may not be for you, but if you just care about the quality of the songwriting, this is a magnificent and spectacular release in a time where this music truly hits hard. If you like your post-black on the raw but defined side, check out Nulling Roots. Now we have Story of the Year with Arson. After coming back stronger than ever with 2023's Tear Me to Pieces, I had no idea what to expect with what will end up being this latest album. Arson feels like the polar opposite experience. It is much heavier in both the music, more screams, and especially the lyrical content. While there is a lot similar to its predecessor, like the fact that they have the same production team, several songs have that emo pop-punk sound to it, this album hits so much more on the raw, modern, post-hardcore approach. To put it simply, if Tear Me to Pieces is their Page Avenue, Arson is their In the Wake of Determination. And finally today we have Wolf Chant with Echoes of a Time Once Past. It's been 21 years since the debut album of this German folk metal band, and with every album, they find a new way of being consistent yet never sounding the same. That continues here with their 9th album, filled with some of the best riffs of the band that they have ever created, mixed in with more genre bending and of course the folk elements that can never leave. You have a Wolf Chant that feels so appropriate for the 2020s, yet makes you long for the early 2000s when things were a bit simpler. The production is the right balance of clear and humanized to make everything flow together. And if you love that sound that comes from bands like Equilibrium, Tearfang, Winterforst, and Inseverum, Wolf Chant is required listening. Check this one out. And there you go, folks, another outstanding What I Missed done for February 20th, 2026. 14 albums down, 46 albums done in February so far, and 96 albums done in 2026 so far. So what'd you think? Did you find some good albums? Did you find some bad albums? Anything that I might have missed out on? Anything that you're gonna check out? Please let me know down below. And of course, like, comment, share, subscribe, hype if the album reviews are worthy enough, and so much more. And make sure to come back next week as we finish off February with Out Today and What I Missed for February 27th, 2026. But until then, for the Heavy Debriefings YouTube channel, this is Josh Runko saying, embrace the skullet.